afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I hope you will enjoy all the presentation and, of course, mine. Today, I'm very proud to show you my end-year project on the board. When I arrived at Holberton School on June, I was just there, I was like the other, glued to my computer, face to my code, and 1 day per week, we need to go to the whiteboard. To see people who are maybe more confident with the tool, the whiteboard, maybe because they work on this sector before, because they're maybe more comfortable with the vocabulary, I can feel myself and other people less confident, not because I didn't study, like the other, because I didn't know how to interpret a word on the whiteboard. Like 35% of active workforce who decide to change careers in 2022, 25%, I didn't know really how to write on a whiteboard, and I need, when I'm on board in a company, in a school, to learn new language, new vocabulary, and new behavior. That's why I decided to create on the board. What is on the board? On the board is a web app that helps to learn how to whiteboard. Is using artificial intelligence and animation on a database, and it's for people who want to perform on a whiteboard. Student, teacher, school, manager, and company. How does it work? Using AI to fetch the definition, writing prompt, to see I want to get this definition in specific term, request the relevant animation from a database, a static way, and then it can be used like a simple whiteboard for training. Download and upload file for team sharing too. What about me and the team? Just me. I'm CATHY AUGUSTIN from C21 Toulouse, and for this project, I work on the back end, the front end. I made the animation for the database, the design, and I'm also the project manager. And so I'm very proud to show how does it work. If you go on the just there. You will go to the website, where you will see the concept, how does it work, who I am, and the board. When you enter in this whiteboard page, you can see you can enter them. In this case, C programming. You have a shape. You can write it like a whiteboard. For example, rectangle. Okay. The brush. I want it on green. And white. I can save it or clear it. I can also, if I write a term just here, it will call the ChatGPT API in this case to fetch the definition in short token, because I want it very, very efficient, and to fetch the interpretation. How to interpret a term in a specific domain on the whiteboard. I don't want the solution. I don't want how can I write it on the whiteboard. And then, just that with the database in static way, the animation. For example, in C programming, if you put integer, you will see the definition, just there. How to interpret the integer, can be positive, negative, or zero. Different data and non, depending on the range of the value. And then the animation, like if I was writing it on the whiteboard. And that's it for the demo. I will explain you now. This way. The technology I use to make this, this tool. For the front end, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS with element of bootstrap for my landing page and for my board. On the back end, I decided to use Python for my back end using Flask because first, we learned it at school. You know, when you are in Holberton school, you learn task by task, piece by piece to make a whole puzzle. And then calling the API interprétés with prompt, I defined before. And for the database, I use MongoDB, exactly Compass Cloud. And for the development, for work environment, Docker, VS Code, GitHub of course, and the hosting OVH. The architecture, to symbolize, to represent what we do on the world. The user enters a time, call the web server, to fetch the API, to send it in the definition place, in the interpretation place, and at the same time, it calls the database to show my static, my animation, just like before, on a JSON file, on the whiteboard. All of this saying like thanks to the front end. So for the code snippet, I just want to show you the two sides of my code. The back side with the prompt. Just here you can see I write two types of prompts. For example, I choose to write a prompt for the Agile Scrum term because it's very useful for the company now to integrate a new collaborator. And else, the message for the C programming term for a better student. I decided to make only 100 token for my definition to be short and efficient and not operator because I just want the term, not another thing that the term. And then for the client side, if all of this it's okay, if it's a good term or C programming, if it's a just term on Agile Scrum project, the response will be the completion of the text with the definition, the interpretation, and then we call the data, in this case with the URL, from the database to show it. Then the project timeline. As I tell you before, I think about this nearly the first week I was at Holberton School. And then for the 8 weeks, about 10 weeks for the project, I need to define the ID to make benchmark to see if it already exists. Because you can show it with the AI now for diagram, for maybe image, but not a visualization. There is study learning visualization. I make the content in two steps. First for only the whiteboard, and then the content for my website in total. Define the API and choose Flask. Using my front end, make and upload all the JSON file on MongoDB. Debug a lot, of course. Simple day, normal day. And move to production and at last the presentation. Now, my challenges. The technical challenges was to fix all the elements in the response tunnel. Static element with my animation, dynamic element with the prompt I define and the completion text, and assembling all the CSS script to make it more responsive. Of course, the non-technical challenge, to be all in one. You know, when you are thinking in a product, not only in the code, but in your whole product, you are at the same time the client, the PO, the Scrum Master, and the developer. One day you have a client and you want this. Other day you have a developer and say, oh, technically, I don't know. Other day the PO to define what really the user wants. what's next? I'm very proud of this project, and I want to be, that could be valuable for businesses. But in this case, I need to populate the database. Because all the database in customer service, in C programming, in school, Python programming, JavaScript, other languages, Agile vocabulary when a new collaborator comes in your company. Make it responsive in the whole website, because today, Learn is on tablets. So I want to make it for the V2. Strong server for the database and security, because I want to implement a dashboard for the user, can choose his database, maybe upload a file for his own vocabulary, explore more functionalities, and provider for AI, because for the moment I choose ChatGPT, because we have 8 weeks, so as we know, maybe Mistral, maybe Yama. Partner with bot creator. We have in the school somebody who are trying to develop bot AI to explain in more than one word, but in several words, all one task. So it can be a collaboration very, very, very interesting. And make it valuable for businesses. And that's it. Thank you very much. I'm waiting for questions. No, it's okay.
Well, I was interested in the displaying of the results after the question that you typed, and I was wondering, how did you manage to convert, I guess, the response of ChatGPT into like a graphical disposition of elements in the whiteboard at the end?
For the animation and the text.
Yes, so how to display? Is it always displaying like a linear? Or?
It's quite at the same time, because there are two tunnels.
Okay.
The dynamic tunnel with API, it's only for completion text. So I'm calling with my prompt. I want the definition in that block, for example. I want also an interpretation, how to interpret this kind of term in the other block. And then other tunnel, MongoDB, JSON file, animation that I make the animation, several animation for that, and to fetch it to the whiteboard. So it's dynamic for one way and static in another way. It's very important for.
On the project timeline, I don't remember, but did you get through a kind of customer satisfaction phase?
When I show to other peers my product, yes, at the beginning. It's very great. They want it for all the time. Now, it's quite a good satisfaction, because when we are thinking on a whole project, you learn also at the same time, piece by piece, the technology and okay. I'm sure I got this. Piece by piece, the technology, and you need to assemble whole, and you are telling to people, maybe it's a good idea, because not everybody can just stand up, show to the whiteboard, oh, I know the term, I know how does it work. Somebody like me, because I changed careers the last past year too, I was not a developer before, didn't know the vocabulary, the right way of explain the term like a developer. And maybe it's a good way for training people, maybe, to before try to understand on their computer, but then go and stand up to the whiteboard. So it's very good satisfaction for the customer and my peers in this case, because it wasn't deployed at this moment. And I think it's working.
So how many versions before, between the first one and the last one?
How many versions? Alors, then my version, only one version. Then aesthetic, because I had all in my head, just all maybe the 6 months to see, I want this, I want that, because I want a whole product, not only a definition, because ChatGPT can give me that. Interpretation, it's a prompt. But a whole tool that is not a DALI image, it is not very, very efficient for that. It's not a diagram, because I don't want a diagram. I want, like, somebody write it for me, and not an image from Google, another image from Google, and no, I don't want several sources. I want one source, your source.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Another one, please.
Yes. To prepare your project,
Yes.
to split the different tasks, and you said all in my head,
Yes.
and you said you were the PO of the project.
Yeah.
How did you manage all these tasks?
All these tasks is to define at first what does the user, the customer want. In that case, me, myself, but a student, for example, because I start with C programming. So, I was in the head of a student in a Western school, wanted to learn and want to be efficient with learning. So, user story first.
Okay.
And then I have to, I don't know the word in English, but maybe freine it, to go step behind, to be more slow, maybe, to manage all my ideas. But it's like a printer. One day you need to say stop. And it's a POC, in this case. It's a proof of concept. And for what are next steps for V2, maybe V3, V4, to be really, really a business. If I want to implement more database and make it more valuable for business.
Okay. So you put every ideas on a tool or a backlog maybe, and after how you manage the priority, how
yes.
you say?
It's step by step. First is the feasibility. It is possible to mix a completion text with an animation. Because I don't want to use ChatGPT. You can use it for free. I don't want to use it. I want to use a combination, a visualization. It was my line. I want a visualization. So step by step, the feasibility. And then choose my tool, very specific tool. I choose Python for the back, JavaScript for fetch to call to go then to show the video, because I wanted to explore and to show how that I studied in Holberton School. It's the goal for that.
Last one. No?
Are you happy with your final achievement?
I'm very, very proud of this. I'm very proud because it's the end, but not the end. It's the end of a period, it's the end of a foundation, but it's the beginning of other project or the continuity of this project. And I'm very proud because I start with nothing, really nothing. I was customer manager, I start with nothing. And then to assembly all that we have learned in all these 9 months is very satisfying. So I'm very happy.
Yes. We are very happy too.
Okay, so hello everyone. Today we are proud to present to you Holberton Survivors, who end-of-year project at Holberton School. Holberton Survivor is a game inspired by the famous one Vampire Survivors. You are a little knight who have to survive against a wave of enemies. To survive, you have some weapons, and sometimes when you defeat an enemy, the enemies drop a coin. You can collect this coin and fill up a gauge, and when the gauge is full, you can choose to upgrade your weapon, select a new one, or upgrade your player stats. You and me choose to do a game because we love the gaming, but this is not the only reason we choose that. For our next years at Holberton, we wanted to go in AR/VR specialization, and in this specialization, we are learning Unity software, and that's the software, the engine we use to do our game.
Before we dive deeper into your game, let me introduce your team. I'm Yoann, 25 years old, from Scene 21 cohort at Holberton School, Toulouse. I'm the game designer and programmer on this project.
And I'm Fabien, 38 years old, also from the C21 cohort. I'm the graphic designer and programmer on the project. So, before to see the game, let's talk a little about the technology we use. As we said before, we use Unity engine. We also choose this engine because it's one of the most efficient for 2D gaming for today. Unity uses C# language, and for the EDI we choose Visual Studio Code with a familiar one for Yoann and me, and we use a new tool that called Dreamlo for the little database. For versioning and saving our work, we use Git and GitHub, the classic one. You have to know that we use a free asset pack to do the game, but we also have to do some graphics by ourselves. So we use Midjourney, for example, the background you see just before, and Photoshop for some design and UI design, sorry. We do a cool landing page in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. We do all the code by ourselves, there's no templates or other on it. And for our organization, we use Trello for time management and task management, and Discord for the communication.
I will present to you now the architectural part of your game, which is crucial to understand how the game works and fit together. The player starts at the game title, where he can join the hub. The hub is the friendliest part of the game, which allows the player to talk with some NPC and to get some information about the game, and also can choose between two paths, the main game or the bonus game. For example, the player chooses the main game. I will talk about faster about this part because we will see that in the live demonstration. The main game leads to 3 different scenarios: the finch, level up, and game over. The scenario level up, when Fabien said earlier, is when the player takes enough XP to fill up the gauge level. And the other one, which leads to the same consequence, retry the game, quit the game, and return to the let's imagine the player chooses the bonus game instead of the main game. The bonus game is an instance of the game where allows the player to survive as long as possible without weapons. When the player dies, their time can be recorded if they want and sent in your database Dreamlo via HTTP request, and can be displayed on it via on your landing page. For all of it to be achievable, as you can see in the right, we have a lot of files, and for this, we need from the start a good methodology of work, because we quickly lost your way, and to just have a good organization to find one way.
Okay, so now it's time to see the demonstration. We let just a few seconds to Yoann to change the screen. You have to know that we already play a little bit because a run of the game is 10 minutes in time. So to show what we code on it, we prepared, as you can see, we have on 7-minute gameplay. So I let Yoann start to show this.
Before I play a resume, you can see we have hidden statistic panels, and they have some stats, and I will play it. As you can see, from the bottom, we have still weapons and have a gauge level. When I keep so it's quite hard to work with.
The game is quite difficult at this time because you know we play 7 minutes, so it's a little hard to survive. I think you will die normally.
Now you choose the level up panel. You can choose between switches, which takes the faxes. We are lucky. We have a chest that is able to take all the coins on the level. And I will dive quickly to show you the hub level, if I can. I don't.
You don't like to die, so you do another step. As you can see, we are on the hub. The player is quite fast here. It's just for the demonstration today to keep time. We have some NPC we can talk with. And now, Yoann will show you the bonus level. So we have some classic one, we can go in the level 1 and go to the bonus level. This is a cool story about this bonus level. This is during the development of the enemy waves. You can see here. Yoann and me find very fun to try to survive without any weapons. So it's very hard, as you can see. And we are a little bit frustrated to doesn't have any database on our project. So we think, why not doing a leaderboard for this part? As you can see, Yoann just tried to name. He sent it. This is an online database. So if you play in Japan, you also see the same database. And on our landing page, we have a leaderboard part. So I think we do a quite nice landing page. And you can see this is directly uploaded on it. So we also choose the code snippet. As you can see just before, sometimes there are many enemies on the screen. We choose a code snippet that's called select. This is a method called selects a random spawn point. But for people who are not developers here, we do a little video to explain what the code do. As you can see, this is a view on Unity. The white rectangle here is the camera view. This is a player show. Imagine 2 random points on the corner here. These 2 random points have X and Y coordinate. And with this coordinate, we create virtual horizontal and vertical line around the screen. And as you can see, we select a random point on those lines. And when the random point is selected, an enemy spawns. So if the player moves, there's always enemies on the screen because they are following the movement of the player. We have also a big problem on this. To keep performance in the game and frame rate, we have to choose to despawn some enemies. As you can see on the video, you can see some enemies, this is this little point, are despawning. When they are enough far of the player, we have a little code that inspects a range about 50 enemies by 50 and despawns them if they are enough far from the player. And you also can see how the infinite map work on this little screen.
Your success came from working well together with Fabien and managing your time carefully. Since I work pretty good in the evening and Fabien is more productive in the mornings, we plan your task accordingly. Before coding, we have done some reflection part to choose the game, and after that, we set the task equally for the game. To do that, we set a deadline on Trello every week. We check too every morning and evening how the game advances, and if one of us encounter one problem, we talk about it a lot to find a solution together. And even doing some peer coding if that solution was too hard to handle alone. For minor updates in your game, we directly implement it on your main branch, but for bigger one, we talk about it a lot and created some branches to implement it on your main branch. All of that keep us to track your schedule and the set pace by Holberton. I will give them to Fabien.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the challenge we encountered during this development. As we said before, we started from scratch in Unity and C#, so that's quite difficult, and this is a technical part, but on non-technical part, sometimes find good resources to learn this technology was hard, because you know there's so much videos, tutorial, and the Unity manual is very, very big. So that's a very very challenge to find a good solution. So many times Johan and me talk a lot and find by ourselves the solution we need. Another technical problem was the bug solving in gaming. There's many bugs. Sometimes you solve one, and by solving one bug, you create two other one. So this is a very long part of the game, testing and solving bugs. Thanks for everyone here who test the game for us. And on non-technical, the other big challenge was to decide when we have to stop implementing a function on the game and concentrate your energy on other parts of the portfolio project. For example, this presentation, the landing page, and other aspects. And that's why the work is never end. We also do a little graphics here to show you the skills we developed during this time. I don't want to talk alone on this part because I think the graphics talk for us. But problem solving, I think this is one of the big quality of developer, and we encounter many problems during the development. So we are happy about the results. And I think it's all for today, and it's time to conclude the presentation.
In conclusion, we are proud to show you our game. We must code. In this game, the most part we do is coding, but after some time we realize we can do a game project from start to end, if I can say that. And the biggest part that I'm most proud of it is you can download it in your game via your landing page.
Yes, it's fully deployed on Windows and Mac, so not on mobile for now. And thank you for listening, and we are ready for the question.
I have one.
Yes.
What do you plan now? Well, maybe you know what's missing in the game at that point, since
Yeah.
you finished, but what do you plan to implement next? If there is something you would like to do in the game, what would it be?
Okay. No, I go? Okay. So the game is deployed, and on the landing page we have a little form to contact us. So the first step is to keep customer advised. We have some already know, because we, I think 1 week before we send the game online, when player starts the game, he doesn't know the controls of it. So I think we implement a little information section about this. You have to know that the game is playable on a computer with keyboard, but all the gamepad, PS5, Xbox, and other console work already. In the future, we really want to implement more levels and probably more enemies, more weapons, because we have only 1 month's preparation and 1 month for coding. So we decide to really choose only one game. And you know, the graphics we have on it is a free asset pack, and we have the same section because it's crazy. Graphics give free assets. If you want to develop more the game, we really need a full graphist with us for that. But for now, it's only a demonstration of coding skills. We just adjust some elements to be sure everyone tests the game, think is cool. And I think this is the plan for now. We don't want to sell it because without a graphist, we don't want. If tomorrow we find a good graphist to help us and change the free asset pack we have to a more original graphism, it's a possibility. And you know, we code. Sorry for the long answer. It's important, I think, to do this precision. We try to code as I don't remember the English word, souplesse, sorry, possible, because if tomorrow we want to do the game for a Switch console or PS5, it's very easy, we just have to compile it for.
You learn C# and Unity, and why you develop your landing page in PHP and not in .NET, for example?
Sorry, it's already me who will answer.
Maybe.
No, it's because I learned PHP 20 years ago, and PHP just served for sending the form on the mail, because I know how to do it quickly. So I choose this solution. I know this is a quite old solution. This is the best today, but we do what we know with the time we have. But sure, in the future, so you know, we doesn't use React or any libraries for animation just because we really wanted to create it by ourselves.
Sure, it's not mandatory to use the last
Yes,
technology.
yes.
Your goal is to develop a game and not a landing page.
I learned PHP 20 years ago, so I think if you go to see the code, you will see it's a little odd.
What was the biggest difficulty you faced working together?
This is for you.
Honestly, Fabien and me, we have no encounter the biggest difficulty to work together because we are 20 hours a year together in Discord.
Yes, we are friends in other way, so we know each other. If I can say just one, sometimes we have a problem, not to each other, but you know, when you work on branches on GitHub, in general case, you have to solve some conflict with files. But with Unity, it's very, very hard because some files we doesn't code it, and we can't solve this one. So we need to have a very good communication on what we are working as we are working on the branches. Normally, the branches can separate the work and push them together, and the communication sometimes need to be very precise. Of okay, push now. I don't know if you.
If you had to do it again, would you do it the same way?
Honestly, probably. to be honest, we will change some things. We will keep time because today we have some skills we didn't have before. So I think we don't take so much time to do some tasks, but I think we have a good organization with Trello for task and time management. I think yes.
I have a question. So I understood that you want to keep going on developing the game, and you also have a form on your website to get return from people for amelioration. So how do you plan to communicate around your game? Do you have a communication plan yet, or do you want to do it with only your friends?
For now, we doesn't really have a full communication game. Today, to communicate with the game, you really need to work on a social network. Because it's a school project. I think we have to think about it, but we are only on our first year's learning at Holberton School. If we were on the second and it's the end and we need to find a job at the end, I think I would answer that we will do that. But for now, this is only for friends. And when we decide, sorry for my bad English, but when we decide that the game is of the quality we really want, why not? Why not? And I think I will ask help for younger people to help me with TikTok, for example.
Another one? What's good for you? Yes?
Hello everyone. Today I'm happy to show you my end of year project named Photo Vernet, like the company I built it for. For the project description, Photo Vernet is a web application for the photographer Jean-François Vernet, providing interactive access to event photo. Who is it for? Is it for the actual customers of Jean-François and the potential clients that are looking for some photo event. The main feature of my application is a portfolio gallery for see the work of Jean-François Vernet and an intelligent user access with a secure registration and logging. Also album management for organizing album for the customers, and contact and interaction section for call Jean-François for a photo event. That's me, Noah Vernet, from the scene 21 and 21 years old, acting as a full stack developer on the Photo Vernet project. I was responsible for the front end and the back end, and also the design. Now, it's time for the live demo. Here you can see the portfolio gallery. For each section, we can click for showing every picture. And for the scholar section, I talked before, the user management. When I click on this button, I'm redirected on the connection section. When I'm logged, I can access to the scholar pictures and choose the one of the college of my city. If I want to check if I'm a student at this college, I can just click on the button and my algorithm check if the user's name match to the college name with a database. And if you have the access, you can show the picture of your college. If you don't have the access, it returns just an error, a simple error, like this. For the album management of the customers for the event like portrait or wedding, I implement an administrator function to add every album I want or remove it just by listing for the user. If I click on it, I can show all the pictures from this album. And that's it for the live demonstration. The technology I used for this application is at first Git and GitHub for keep my code safe, and Trello for the time management, and VS Code at the development environment. For the database, I use MySQL because we learned some MySQL at Holberton, and that's more easily for me to implement it in my code. For the front end, I use the classic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and the back end, I use Python, Flask, and Jinja 2 for interact with the front. This is my architecture. Here you can see the users. The users on the site can interact with my front ends, and the front ends are linked to Jinja 2, and the Jinja 2 are linked to my Flask, and my Flask interacts directly with my code on Python, and the Python can check if you are a user logged or not, if you want to load some picture from the server, like the albums talked about. That's a short code snippet for my Synology API for catch every image I want. Like here, I just I just use a get method for check if my API is operational or no. If the status is good, it returns me some data and I can catch every picture I want. This is a timeline I use for my project. In the first case, I do some research and development for find the better language for doing my application. And I find Flask because at Holberton we learned the basic of Flask, and I just want to improve my skill on it. So in the second case, I create my Flask app with basic roots and some HTML template for testing. In the third case, I implement my user management with some user and admin role for authentication and authorization rule. In the third case, I implement finally my Synology API who can catch my pictures. And at the last case, I implement my landing page for showing up my work. For the challenges, the most difficult technical challenge I encounter with this project is to display the image from the Synology server on my Flask application. Because when you need to load a complete album like a 10 gigabits picture, you need to download it. I don't want that, so I transform each image by a thumb. I transform image on thumb, and I just display the thumb, and that's more clear and faster than simply download. For the non-technical challenge, it's the time, because I encounter some issue and I need to solve it fast for having the time for the demonstration. For the future feature, I want to add an option for select each picture I want from the school section and send the selection to the photographer. And I want to do some responsive design for the mobile users. In the conclusion, with this project, I learned some UI and UX design for the user management. I learned more Flask because I create a complete application with it, and some web security for keep the user safe. And thank you everyone. Any questions?
Because you talked about web security and in the last slide about what you wrote, and I think that indeed it's something very sensitive, or if we're talking about pictures of people. And how did you make sure, and what did you learn specifically on the web security side to make sure that nobody can ask the data?
For this, I use some Flask library. That's pretty simple to use it. I just type if I want to protect my image, how can I use it? And Flask have documentation on it, so I use some Flask library. It can make me some fake redirection for the thumb and a hashed password for the user, and I remove the right click on the image also.
How do you convert picture to high definition to low definition, and do you use asynchronous system for that?
I use async system, but I don't convert the size of the image, because I just display some thumb, so I don't need to touch it, because that's the same fast with these two options. It's fast.
Your customer is Renforcez?
No, Renforcez is the CEO of the company.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not clearly.
Okay. Sorry. So the purpose of your project and the needs, it's from Jean-François?
Yeah, at the big part, yes, because Jean-François have a website, but it's just for showing his talent, not for doing some user management and interaction. So I want to implement it and with here.
And the website is not online?
No, actually it's a local host because I want to have a better security on it before the deployment.
You need to put a long password on your I know it's a demo.
I remove this condition just for
I know, but I
presentation.
wanted to say.
Yes, thank you. Any questions? No? No more questions? Well, thank you everyone for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Xavier Bertin from the C21. I will present you today the 0.01 version of Holberton Survivors, a 3D game in third person made on Unity. As I am alone on the project, I am the conceptualizer, the developer, and the designer. My ambition with this project is to set the base on a 3D game on Unity, and this I have reviewed all my ambition just because of that. We'll see later. So in summary, we have the introduction to 3D, the third person perspective, why I choose this type of game, the tools and the source of my inspiration, my objective, the key feature and the design implementation, and for finish we will see a little demonstration and some update in the future. Why the 3D? Try and learn every time. First, one day I have seen a simple color. This simple color gave me a character, and this character gave me a history. This history gave me a universe. So I want to push it on your screen. Second, because I want to go in a VR specialization, and so I need to learn Unity and the C# and the JS, for example. And third, because of these three reasons: the immersion, the challenge, and the result at the end. Why the third person? Because of the interaction of the player and the character. Second, because there is, it's for me the better view for the game I want to do. It's maybe the harder, I think, to set, because the relationship with animation. And for finish, I want to implement the characters creation, so I suppose it's better to see your own characters. For the tools I have used Unity for multiple reasons. The first is the documentation and the resources, and the second is because I want to do the AR specialization, and this specialization is based on it. I have used C# languages because Unity is the languages for Unity. Mixamo for import animation and characters. I have used Visual Studio as IDE, and finally GitHub as for version. In my inspiration, there is a lot of inspiration. There is not all my inspiration here. There is Mass Effect for the universe, the science fiction universe, especially. It's perfect for think about the team I want to implement in my game. So it's better for think about on evolution, and especially when different races can observe the simple path for evolve. I have Star Wars, The Old Republic and Dragon Age for the RP density and the lore, and Cyberpunk Red Dead Redemption 2 for the immersion. My ambition, my goal with this project is to set the base on a 3D game, like an interactable system, an inventory system, you can see here, and some animation as walk, run, jump, and the base of a fight. My architecture is simple as the controller, model, and the view. So here, the controller, it's a part of my code of my interactable system. I just set a list of interactable objects. It can be a NPC, it can be a door, a simple cube, whatever. This part, so return the closest because I check in the sphere around me for take all the collider, and after I will check for the what interactable object is, and I will update the view. As a challenge, there is many challenges. Try and try again, always. The big one, I think, is the fight system, the interaction between characters. There is multiple paths for that. The difficulties, the more difficulties is the interaction between two colliders, an enemy and the player, and to have the possibility to set the animation correctly with the character controller. And finally, the inventory system. You need many abstraction, so there is always controller, model, and view. But there is another controller, model, and view around the first and more deeper in the abstraction. So I have review again my ambitions for set a little inventory system, more simple and useful for different games. So I propose you to have a live demonstration. Well, let's go. As you can see here, a little context for see where we are and who we are. We start it, and we can so we can run an interactable system, simple. Start with an NPC. It seems there is a guy upstairs. I suppose with light is better. I have taken a can here. With the projection in space for see where we are. It seems there is a lot. I lost some part of my life. Just one click and it recover. And a little dialogue at the end. So. Oops. Well, on va dupliquer. Ah, it's nice. Okay. Sorry for the loss of time. Perfect. So, on the features, I want to implement the drag and drop in the system inventory. The more space, have a big one, and an equipment system. After, I will implement some part of the fight and the animation, as the crouch, the dodge, and the dash, and the system fertility. And in the interactable system, I want to review all the interactable system. Actually, I set with a list of collider. I want to do with that with the recast. And in the interactable system, so I want to implement the possibility to interact directly with the inventory and the equipment. And for that, I need to insert some interactable object. So it's finished for me. Ready to explore the further? Feel free to ask questions. No.
Is it the goal you reached now?
At the start, I wanted to implement the possibility to set an interaction between the communities, in fact. But for that, I need to set a universe, and there is many challenges before implementing this type of function. So I have reviewed my ambition to the. It's not easy, really.
Yes, yes. I truly understand it, but well, are you satisfied? Or I mean, did you reach your goal in your opinion of
more or
time
less?
spent?
More or less. Depend on what part. On the interactable system, more yes. On the fight system now, I think it's I can do better. That's true. But I need more time. And on the inventory system, I have see many inventory system. There is one developer equal one inventory system. So it's possible for me to implement more, but I'm not satisfied totally. Not on it.
Okay. I think it's very challenging.
It's true.
It's
true.
It's a game, and there are many games that require, well, with this ambition.
But I have learned every part I want to learn. That's true. So the base on the 3D game in third person, the inventory, the interactable system, the fight, the animation. I have yes, my ambition on this type of view is good.
Yes. Thank you.
Any more question?
Congratulations, Olivier, for this project.
Thanks.
Far from being an expert, but from a technical perspective, but it was a choice to be alone on that project.
Yes and no. Yes, yes, because it's my idea. This idea is in my head. There is maybe five years,
Yeah.
something like this. I have set the universe on the paper, so I just need to implement them now. And so it will be good to have a peers, a team for set this type of environment, to share different point of view, for example, and then implement later. So yes, it's one part of my goal. So no, it's a choice and no, because if someone is interested by the project, well.
Did you try to find someone else to help you? Or?
Not really. It's true.
What do you want to do with this project? Do you want to keep going?
Yes.
And how?
How? I have not for now publicity management, but yes, it's one part of my goal to set this universe on the screen of everyone if he wants. The first step is to set the universe with the basic implementation, and the second step is to try when the universe is good, solid, and white. To maybe it's possible to have to transfer the game on the MMO as a multiple player.
And do you plan on earning money with the game? Is that something you think about or not?
It's not my first ambition, but yes, of course.
And how do you want to do it? Do you want to sell your game to an editor? Do you want to do it as a
No,
standalone?
My own editor. I think it's better just for keep control of my own game. So well.
Okay.
Is that the first game you developed?
Yes, it's the first time.
First time.
It's the first time. So there is a lot of years now I think about that, and I have started Holberton and party for that. So so because I have started Holberton, I just need just have maybe C1 of Toulouse. That's all. So now I can do that, and I'm very proud of that. Any question?
We are very proud of you, too.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. So today I'm going to present you my end of year portfolio project. It's called Plongez. So what is Plongez? Plongez is a desktop tool for scanning, analyzing, renaming and sorting text documents. So for this it's mainly PDF files based on what they contain. It's a desktop app for Windows. It's been built for maximum compatibility with any, I'd say any somewhat recent computer running Windows 10, Windows 11. What it actually does, it generates file names that are more context rich and indicates a lot about the content inside. For future identification, for sorting. The main goal in mind is addressing the problems of both individuals and businesses that are dealing with the issue of sorting documents, be it in large amounts or small amounts. It's relatively simple and lightweight. It weighs about, for now, it weighs about 300 megabytes. And it's pretty quick. So the team is me, just me, Jeremy Samezar, the cohort 21 from Toulouse. So I do both the full stack, front end, back end, the UI UX design, the architecture, and the testing. So now it's time for the live demo. Give me a minute. So as you can see, I actually deployed the app. I had to because my computer doesn't work with this screen apparently. So I'll demonstrate by using on this file. So you can see the file name is not exactly meaningful, descriptive. You can try and guess what it is, type of document it is, but you probably won't. So I select the file, I could remove it, and I click generate names. I'm greeted with the progress file, and it was very quick. And it generates a file name. So as you can see, this was a train ticket I ordered on the website for me and my brother, actually. There's two files originally. I ordered on the website from the company we all know and love, Nice and Safe. Pretty amazing. And with the file name generated, I can click rename files. And as you can see, it's highlighted green. And je me suis trompé de fichier, évidemment. Doesn't matter. It renames the file. I don't know what the file is actually. And then what I could demonstrate also is adding. I see. Yeah, I got the file wrong. Let me just, sorry about that. Okay. So I can do batch file renaming, generating names. Okay, it's very quick. It's not as fast on my computer, so it's because Johan's computer is pretty good. It's pretty good actually. Normally on my computer, which is more low end, it takes about maybe 10 seconds for this. And maybe this time we can actually find files. That would be great. As you can see, they're all renamed. One option I added is maybe you made a mistake and you want to revert, rename, and now they're back to the original name. So that's it for the demo basically. There's a bunch of usability things. I can also edit the file names generated. If you want to add a word, you can do it. It renames them with whatever you added. And that's pretty much it for the demo. Okay. So on the technology side, for versioning and organizing the code, obviously I use Git and GitHub. It's pretty much mandatory. On the back end, I used Python and a very wide array of libraries for extracting the documents PDF, space I for the AI model that's behind generating the names. PyQt is for, I put in the backend, but PyQt is for the interface. It uses the Qt framework. And the IDE is Visual Studio Code. Research, I did quite a lot of research, especially for working with the interface, Qt, so a lot of Perplexity, mostly, and Google and ChatGPT. And the front end for the landing page that has been deployed, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is a very basic architecture design, mostly for the interface. So it's really simple. It describes the behavior of the buttons, whether it's been done when I click a button. The main thing to remember is how the file data list actually works with the front end. Every time I make a change, I press a button that change something in the list of files. It's automatically updated in the file data list that's behind. That's how I'm able to rename the files and then revert to the old file, for example. This is one of the code snippets I chose. I chose just one. So basically what it does is in 3 blocks, I select first. This is what comes out of the AI model I use. One thing I use is the stop tag, you can see it here, and a bunch of filtering behind that. So what I do is I remove useless words. In a lot of text, you've got words like a, the, some, not interesting for the final name that's been generated. I want proper nouns, I want just nouns. I filter from this, and finally I count each word, and I ignore case because sometimes a word has been many times in the file, but it's in a different case. It can be capitalized, it can be in small characters. So this ensures that it does and that it keeps the original case. This is a basic description of how I organize my work. The first 2 weeks where the priority was making a backend that worked, because there was no point for me making front end if the backend didn't work. So the AR model side of things. And then, only when it worked, I worked on the front end. That took quite a while for me because I'm not familiar with front end work. And finally, mostly upgrading the layout, making even more tests and fixing bugs, adding the little features. Yes. For the challenges side, technically, the backend was mostly not a challenge, but I'm pretty new and not honestly very skilled with front end, so it was difficult. This is a solo job, so I had no one to rely on for that, so I had to step up. I had small issues with Windows. It can be tricky sometimes when you're creating files compared to Linux systems. So as I was saying, I had a huge time and number constraints because I can't really split myself in on so many tasks. So I had a lot of ideas on how to improve the systems. Unfortunately, I don't have time to make the app, for example, compatible with a large variety of files. I just work on PDFs. I just made some tests on my own, but how did I tackle that? So I had huge decision-making issues. I think I lost quite a bit of time with that. So what I did to limit that is I focused on the most basic features first. Focused on the basic feature of generating names for PDF files. Usually when I get stuck on the front-end work, I either did a lot of research of, if I noticed I was completely stuck, I went back to more basic stuff, and that worked pretty well. I also went to seek more user feedback, and for my peers that are much more gifted in front-end work than me, and that was very helpful too. So for the future features, the main thing I want to do, and I will do probably as soon as I can, is make it so images are compatible with the app. I made some tests on my own, just integrating it so close to the presentation was a risk I couldn't take, especially within the work. Add more text formats. That shouldn't be too difficult. difficult. Better integration for the OS, so what I could do, and I tried, but it doesn't work with the recent version of the application, is a quick launch menu when you right-click on a file directly, you select a bunch of files and you add them to the app. And a settings menu if you really want to customize the file names. That's more useful, I think, for a company use than a single individual user feature. And that's it. Any questions?
How did you find, congratulations first, interesting solution for basic customers, or for companies, I think so. How did you come to that project? Did you already face this kind of things?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good question, and I noticed I didn't really talk about it, so it's interesting. Honestly, I've been, just before coming to Holberton, I worked on something that was a little similar. A company asked me unofficially to help them on a PDF problem. It was editing at a large scale. Thousands of PDFs with a small edit to make with a Python script. It's doable, especially for the beginner I was at the time. And I thought of that because usually when you interact with the website of CAF, Caisse d'Allocation Familiale, I think the SNCF.
In English, please.
SNCF. They generate a lot of files. Usually you do that. Some people do it daily, and they generate files that don't make sense.
Yeah.
So the specialty for the SNCF is what you've seen. The CAF is document.pdf, .pdf, not exactly context rich. So yes, I've been confronted to this problem many times. Some people in my family told me, I know you've worked on something that is PDF files, but if you could generate actually useful file names. So I thought of working on this, and I did. And I'm pretty satisfied what it does specifically for PDFs. I think it lacks the idea, and some people told me about this solution. I think it's great, is integrating it directly in a web browser. So when you download a PDF file, it just tells you, do you want to rename this file? And it does it immediately, basically. So as soon as you download the file from the SNCF website, it renames it with train ticket, etc. And I think that would be the best way to do this. Right now it's a desktop app because that's another way of doing things, since you can just go back to all the files you've been downloading for the past month, maybe select 25 of them. That's what I did on my home computer, and rename them so it makes sense. Sorting them in future makes it much easier, I think.
And there was no existing app like that in the market before?
I actually looked for it because we were supposed to do that when we took our project, and I didn't find, this is also a reason why I did that, I didn't find exactly an app that did this, not as a feature of a larger framework or larger platform, larger app. I just want a simple tool that solves this specific problem, like 7-zip solves compression, archiving. I just want a tool like CCleaner that cleans disk space. And I think this fits. I haven't really seen anything. I think it should be soon coming to Windows, and I wouldn't be surprised if Apple did that for macOS. No other questions?
I think it's very interesting, obviously, and I was just wondering about the AI model that you implemented. Well, I don't know, does it, I don't know this model, does it have any limitations that you see that would motivate you to go to another model?
Also a very good question. Absolutely. I've honestly haven't experimented much. I found a good one. I compared like 5 of them different. This is I think I mentioned it in the slides, but I can't be sure. This is an NLP model, so what it does is it tags words. It's very limited in what it does. It actually analyzes text and tags words with meaning, tells me if it's a place, a person, a date. That doesn't work very well, to be honest. So what I use is, I use another type of tag. It tells me if this is a verb, proper noun, subject, and this works much better. What I usually do is I extract proper names, any noun that's capitalized. That works very well, but this is my solution, and it has its limits. I think some larger models, like actually a large language model, like Llama, would be an example. It would generate, overall, it would have better performance. For this train ticket, it's amazing, honestly, but sometimes it's not so great, usually when the file is longer or when it's a very specific kind of file. I use it on biology files I had on my computer for other reasons, and then it's much worse because as a user that doesn't understand biology, when you read the file, there's a bunch of names about hormones or plant species, and you can't understand. My goal would be that you could sort someone else's files. That would be amazing. Another use case that's not very enjoyable to talk about, but some people are confronted to it these days. When people die, they leave behind a bunch of PDF files about their life, administration, and most of them are very important. Maybe you just want to remember them, sort them, and running it on this would be more of a challenge, I think, especially for professional files. And so I would need to upgrade the model, make some changes. Unfortunately, I can't really experiment many times with the model because the outputs every time would be very different. So I kept the same once I was satisfied. I didn't really mention that, I think, but the advantage I have with this type of model is very interchangeable. So I have a model for French and English. I could add Deutsch, for example, and that would work better. But I had to balance things out for this. Obviously, that's another thing actually I should have specified in the future features. I want to try other models. I already did, but not at a large scale, just one file. And it wasn't fitting, I think. So, yes, definitely I will. That's the short answer.
That's very good.
Another one? Jeremy?
No, I don't have any question. So, quite good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.